Finding distances between points that share a common coordinate given their coordinates. So we did this one, a very similar one to this, called, let me go back up here. It is called finding distances between points that share a common coordinate given their graph. So in this one, we're being given their coordinate. So I'm going to X out of that. To get that extra explanation, I just clicked on the title so that I could see the whole title here. So in this case, the question, it's going to give you this question here. Find the distance between the points -7, -4, and -7, 5. So if you have graph paper, you can graph it, just like they're showing below here. And then just like we did in that other one, you just count the boxes in between. So they count it down and they see that there's a distance of 9. If you don't have graph paper or it doesn't provide you with a graph to graph them, one of the easier ways to do this, you just stack the 2 points like this. Whoops, I want to make this a little bit bigger. -7, -4, and -7, 5, like this. And then I'm just going to treat this like a subtraction problem. So I'm going to subtract straight down on this one. So I have -7 minus -7. So keep in mind, the only tricky thing here is I have 2 negatives on the bottom. So 2 negatives, when I say minus negative like that, I know it actually means plus. So -7 plus 7 is actually 0. This tells me it's the shared coordinate. And we can see that because it's -7 and -7. What that means is if I were on the x-axis over here, so I'd go over -7 for both. You can see that. So this line crosses -7. And then for A, I'm going to go down to -4. For B, I'm going to go up to 5. So really, I just want to know how many points are between there. So I have -4 minus 5. So I end up with -9. The only thing, we want the absolute value of this number. We don't want -9. I just want to know how many units are between them. So there are 9 units between them. So that's kind of a quick way. You just stack the 2 and subtract the ones that don't match. The ones that match, you always get 0 because those are your shared coordinate. Okay, so let's go ahead and click start here so we can actually start this off. And I want to erase a little faster here, so I'm going to make this a little bigger. Okay. And I want that pen just a little bigger because that last one was bugging me just a little bit there. Okay, so they don't give you graph paper in here. So if you have graph paper and you like using the graph, that's perfectly fine. In this case, they're not going to just give it to you on the program. Sometimes they do give it to you and they ask you to also graph it. In this case, they're not doing that. So like we're going to go minus. So we have -3. Oops, sorry, moving the table there. -3 minus 5. So I end up with -8. Remember, I want the absolute value of that number, so just 8. If we look at these two, they match. So if I go 4 minus 4, I get 0. Every time they match, we should be getting 0 because we're subtracting. So this is the distance. It is 8. Check. Yay. All right, we're going to do a couple more of these. Go back to the pen. All right, so we're going to do the same thing. So -5, 6, and then I'm going to stack the other one, -5 and 2. So since we've already talked about this a couple of times, if they match, those are not the ones that I'm trying to figure out. Those are the shared coordinate. So you're going to get 0 as soon as they match. So I'm just crossing it off. I'm going to ignore these 2 points. I don't care about those 2. I care about the ones that don't match. So I'm going to look at 6. Remember, it's minus 2. So 6 minus 2, we get 4. So that's my distance. It's already positive. So we could still do the absolute value like we did around the negative sign. But the absolute value of 4 is 4. So remember, absolute value, if you haven't watched that video or gone through that topic yet, absolute value just means the distance away from a point. So usually it's a distance away from 0. In this case, it's saying 2 is 4 squares or units away from 6, or 6 is 4 units away from 2. So it's just telling you how far the distance is in between those 2 points. So we got 4, and check. All right, one last one here. we're going to go -6, sorry, -5 and 6, and -5 and 2. Oh, this is really crooked all of a sudden. There we go. Okay, so again, I'm not going to pay attention to the two that match here. I'm going to ignore those because I know if they match and I subtract, I'm going to end up with 0. I care about these ones again here. So this actually ends up, it would help if I switch to the next problem, wouldn't it? I was wondering why those numbers looked awfully familiar. Okay. That was a little silly there. Okay, so switch over here to my other color. So now these are the ones that match. I'm going to ignore those. I only care about these two. So 5 minus negative. So remember, this is the only thing that I said was tricky is you have to pay attention. You're subtracting and you have a negative, which actually means plus. So 5 plus 7, we get 12. The absolute value of 12 is, in fact, 12. So 5 is 12 units away from -7. -7 is 12 units away from 5. So if we were to graph this and count the squares, we would be able to count squares. All right, yeah, another one finished.